Around my 16th year, there was a girl on my street named Eliana. A beautiful brunette with green eyes and very curly black hair. She was my first love. The first time we got together was at the church fair in our neighborhood. After that day, I ended up asking her to be my girlfriend. She said she'd think about it during the week. I remember I was quite anxious, but it worked out. But even though she accepted, my happiness didn't last long. I was Eliana's first boyfriend. We dated for 2 months, but we only kissed. I respected her a lot. Besides that, I had no experience with women and wanted both my first time and hers to be special. We even made plans to meet twice at my house while my parents were out. But Eliana always came up with excuses. She wanted to wait, and I respected that. And when everything seemed to be fine between us, she broke up with me. She gave me some line about wanting to focus on her studies and that her parents didn't want her dating so young. I was quite sad at the time, but I tried to understand her side. I just didn't understand when, the following week, she already showed up with another guy, holding hands at Sunday Mass. She started dating this guy as soon as she broke up with me. This guy was a bit older than us and was a playboy from the neighborhood. He had a car, he had a motorcycle. His father owned one of those little shops that sell bags, toys, and electronics, those things from China. In other words, he was a guy who had money. But Eliana's relationship with him lasted just over a month. The guy ended up breaking up with her. Probably, after he got what he wanted, he took off. It was so obvious to everyone that this guy didn't want anything serious with her. Many people talked about it at the time, but she didn't listen. She didn't show up at church or really on the street for over a month. Until, at the end of Sunday Mass that I attended, Eliana appeared and came to talk to me. She told me that she missed our conversations a lot and wanted to go back to at least being friends. She apologized to me, said she lied to me when she left me because she didn't want to hurt me. I said it was okay. We started talking again. After all, no one is obligated to like anyone. And I had already moved on from her. At least, that's what I thought. The following Sunday, again after Mass, Eliana came looking for me. She invited me to her sister's birthday party. And I accepted, without any ulterior motives, especially since she invited other people from the church. On the day of the party, to my surprise, Eliana was all over me. She kept bringing me things and trying to please me the whole time. And that day, I ended up being with her. Although I didn't want to, I still liked her. We started seeing each other very frequently. And again, I fell for her charm and we started dating again. This time, our relationship lasted 7 months. That was the time it took for her to trade me for another guy, who she thought was better. This time, she traded me for her sister's boss's son. This guy's father owned an auto center in the city where her sister worked. The excuse she gave me this time was that I thought small, that I lacked ambition, and that I had nothing. And I really had nothing. I was as poor as she was. But at that time, we were only 17 years old. It became clear to me that what Eliana wanted was someone who had money, or a family with possessions. After about 3 months with this new boyfriend, Eliana turned up pregnant. Her wedding was arranged in a hurry because of the pregnancy. After the wedding, she stayed in the city for very little time. Her husband was a guy who liked to drink and use other things. He ended up getting involved with some wrong people, and his father, out of fear, asked him and Eliana to go live in another city. Everyone in the neighborhood commented that Eliana and her husband were being supported by his parents. The guy did nothing. Meanwhile, I went on with my life. And 15 years went by. I finished high school with a lot of sacrifice, managed to graduate in agronomy, and ended up moving to Mato Grosso, where I got a job. It was in this job that I met my wife, also an agronomist. Unfortunately, after 3 years of marriage, she passed away. We had no children. I lost her to cancer. During my vacations, as I used to do every year, I went to Indaiatuba, in Sao Paulo, to visit my mother. She wasn't in good health and lived alone. She and my father had been separated for about 8 years. I wanted her to come to Mato Grosso with me. And on this return to my hometown, I ended up running into Eliana at the neighborhood market. I only recognized her because of her green eyes. The rest was unrecognizable. Eliana had become a large, clumsy person. She didn't even look like the same person. She stopped to talk to me, hugged me, we chatted for a few minutes. She said she had been back for 2 years. She said she was single and living with her mother. I was in a hurry. I told her that my mother was waiting for me. I excused myself and left. Arriving at my mother's house, I mentioned that I had seen Eliana. She told me that Eliana had 3 children, was separated, and was in a legal battle with her ex-husband, who wasn't even paying child support. Eliana's father-in-law had passed away about 4 years ago. But her husband took over the family business and ended up going bankrupt. From what they said, he got into a lot of debt. And what the bank couldn't take from him, he destroyed himself because of his addictions. Eliana's mother told my mother that her daughter and grandchildren had even gone hungry. And that's why Eliana went to live with her. I stayed in Indiatuba for 2 weeks to sort out some problems for my mother and rent out her house. I picked up a sign at the real estate agency and was putting it on the gate when Eliana suddenly appeared to talk to me. She asked how I was, said that on the day we met, she couldn't talk to me properly and wanted to know what I had done in the last 15 years. I tried to be brief, but she kept dragging the conversation on. So I said that I had gotten married, had become a widower, mentioned that I graduated in agronomy and lived in Mato Grosso. She asked if I had children. I said no, said that I had a small property that I inherited from my wife and that my mother was going to live there with me. Then the crying started. She started lamenting, said she hadn't had luck with men, that the father of her children didn't help her with anything. She commented that after her father-in-law passed away, her life changed a lot. She said her husband only knew how to drink and gamble. I realized that she would soon drop some hint, but it didn't happen that day. She ended up having to leave to pick up her children from school. But the next day, Eliana appeared again. I was washing my truck, checking the water, oil, and tires, because I was going to travel with my mother the next day. Realizing that I didn't have much time, Eliana was very direct. She asked if I wanted to go out with her later, before going back to Mato Grosso. I said that I needed to sleep early because I was going to travel over 1,600 kilometers. And that's when she started stroking my arm and said, "You know, Marcelo, you and I dated twice, and unfortunately, it didn't work out." I was very immature, confused, and didn't really know what I wanted from life. But today, if you give me another chance, I will make you the happiest man in the world, because that's what you deserve. I tried to choose my words carefully so as not to offend Eliana, but there was no way around it. I started to remember the past, the things she did to me, and I said, "Eliana, 15 years ago, you were a beautiful young woman and could choose any guy you wanted. And you chose, and it wasn't me. And that's okay, it's part of life. But now, for you to come at me with this line, I even feel offended. You have 3 children, after becoming this huge, clumsy person, you come and offer yourself to me. Is that what I deserve? Look, Eliana, I didn't mean to offend you, okay? But you offended me by coming and offering yourself to me in this state." She swallowed hard, started fiddling with her teeth, and walked away from me, calling me an idiot. The next day, I returned to Mato Grosso with my mother, and I never saw Eliana again. Thank you very much for listening to the story until the end, and if you have any stories you'd like to send us, the email is in the description.